Outright winners, matchups, Draftkings Darlings, and players that can trip you up, all that and much, much more. Welcome everyone to the Cut Line. It is the PGA Championship week, and I am your host, Andy Lang, being joined, as always, by my fellow golf betting expert, Yann. We're going to break down this course that we have not been to in quite some time. Interesting course. I have some pretty aggressive thoughts on it, so we're going to get to that. But we always got to start with tales from the courtesy tent. These are the worst shots from last week. We always celebrate the good, but around here we like to celebrate the unfortunate. So let's take a look at some of the worst shots. We got one still picture and two videos. So we'll start with Mr. Harry Hall, friend of the show. We love him. But if you just kind of see the pin there and then way back in the lake, that splash, that's his ball. Came up just a bit short. In his defense, he bounced it off a rock and it went flying backwards, but that messed up his drop. So let's go to our boy, or I should say your boy, Matthew Fitzpatrick, the guy that I just can't get right. Like he does stuff like this when I bet on him. So here he is off the tee. This is a drivable par 4. The only thing you can't do is go left, and the volunteers like not paying any attention. Like it's literally your job, and he just bends over and sticks the flag down. A horrific drive from Fitzpatrick. That was one of the shots that derailed him. And then Sung Jae Im with, I mean, this is an all-timer. Sung Jae coming out of the bunker, skies it, it hits off the wall and goes flying back across the green directly into the bunker that he was standing in. I mean, that has just got to be the sickest feeling watching that ball trickle right back into
That's incredible. That one is amazing. That's going to win the end of year awards for shot of the year, surely.
Like, what did he hit? A brick wall back there?
No
it's
idea.
Banners and like stuff. How do you have that much spin on the ball coming back? So those are your worst shots of the week. So all right, let's get to the course preview. Normally we start with one and done, but we got to get to the course preview here. We're at Aronimink in Pennsylvania, and this is a course that we have not seen since 2018. They have a really great video on the Golf Digest YouTube channel of the flyover of all the holes. So you can get a really good in-depth look at this course. It's playing as a par 70 this week, around 7,400 yards. Jan, my biggest takeaway is there are just a ton of bunkers to try and gobble up tee shots. You don't necessarily have to be that long off the tee this week. You just got to be in the fairway. The greens are pretty big. There's a lot of, I don't necessarily say slopes, but like tiers and bigger hills and mounds to kind of navigate. There's no water to deal with, but there's a few longer par 4s, but I got to tell you, I don't think length is all that, even though it's par 70 and 7,400 yards. There's a couple of longer holes. I just think the accurate guys off the tee are going to set themselves up for really good putting shots here. So I don't know. What's your take? I'm looking for more accurate guys off the tee as opposed to the bombers on this one. What's your take on this course?
I don't think this is going to be a huge test by any means. I just think you've got to be well-rounded going around here. I think off the tee, bombing profiles should go well around here. I think I certainly lead towards distance, but you can just hit fairways and turn this into a long iron course. So you just want to be taking guys who have length with either the driver or irons. Either of those profiles work in theory for me. Water on only 2 holes, like you say, 180 bunkers. You've got to bring in course managers and bunker players. Most of these bunkers will be avoided by average driving distance, but it's still something to factor in. The greens are where this week is at for me. They are big and undulating. I think the around the green short game of putting is going to be a real test, and where this event is won and lost. So overall, I just think you want a bit of everything. You want length with either irons or drivers, classy course managers who can deal with the bunkers. You want someone who is good on approach, and then you want someone with elite around the green, short game and elite putting. Should be a little bit of breeze for the first 2 days. That's something to keep an eye on. But this is essentially a new course. I'm not really sure what we're looking at. It's a new test. It's going to be interesting, and I'm looking forward to this one.
I think they go low.
Definitely.
I think this is a course they end up kind of really tearing apart. I'm not sure if they can get the greens firm enough to really scare guys. And this isn't going to surprise me if some guys get out way ahead and we're like, oh, this is just kind of your average course for these guys if they're hitting their fairways. So
I wrote down 18 under as a winning score. So
I agree. I agree completely. I'm looking at the flyover. I'm just not sure that there's enough penalties and enough things to scare guys. Like they're going to be able to take chances because I don't think the penalty is that, brutal.
Yeah.
So this is certainly not going to be US Open type conditions here. So, all right, let's move to our one and done. This is where we pick one golfer each week. You get their prize money as the score, and we can only pick one guy per year until we get to playoffs. I went Ludvig Åberg last week. You went Adam Scott. We got some decent finishes, so I'm going to you first. Who are you picking for one and done?
I'm using my Rory McIlroy this week. I just can't get away from the Masters win and the first 2 rounds he had there. If we are going to get a Rory that only turns up for majors moving forward, he will always be my number 1 heading into them. He came 5th here on his only visit back in 2018. I just think he's going to destroy the short part game of this course. And with him being the best tee to green player in the field, I just think this is a great week to use him. I think the 19th place finish last week was actually a perfect prep for him. I think he's going to be dialed in from the off. For me, Rory McIlroy is the best golfer of this generation and my most likely winner this week.
All right, you're going with Rory McIlroy. We were talking before, like I haven't used my Fitzpatrick start, and I don't know where I'm going to use it, but I am going to use my Fitzpatrick start this week. In 2026, this guy's 6th most accurate off the tee, 3rd best total strokes gained approach, and the 4th. His last finish is 4th, 9th, win 6th in his last 4 tourneys. That doesn't even include the win at the Zurich, except it's not Matthew. I'm using my Alex Fitzpatrick start this week.
I know
it. The guy is playing really, really well, and he's accurate off the tee. I want to use him while he's hot right now, Yann. So I'm going to throw Alex Fitzpatrick out there. I thought last week was going to be a tough course for him, and he played good. He just faltered on one hole down the stretch. He really just flubbed one hole, but he was right in it. I think he can compete with these guys. So Alex Fitzpatrick is going to be my one and done this week. So part of this is I'm behind in our fantasy league, so I need to swing for the fences moving forward. So do I think he's going to win? I don't know. Could he win? Well, he's won, but I need to take some long shots here in this one. So all right, let's take a look at total strokes gained. Listen, this is not a small sample size over the last 3 months, but Scottie Scheffler is just not quite your number 1 guy. Cameron Young has moved into that spot, and we've just been really impressed with Cameron Young's consistency. It's been the big knock on him. If we want to look at some other ones, if you look at just accuracy off the tee, you got Putlum, of course. Henley's going to be up there. Aaron Rai, Corey Connors, Lucas Glover, Alex Fitzpatrick. Yann was bringing up around the ground. You got Patrick Reed, who is just absolutely gifted around the greens. Scheffler's been very good. Snedeker, Matt Fitzpatrick has been good. Nick Taylor. So what kind of stats do you think you're going to be paying attention to more than others this week?
It's around the green and putting for me. I want someone who's going to be dialed in on these massive greens and deal with the undulating surfaces there.
Yeah, I mean, Sam Burns can always go low, but then unfortunately he's not been good around the green. And then you've got some other guys that can go pretty good. Of course, Maverick McNeely's there. That's a guy that not too long off the tee, but I still think he can compete with as good as his short game is. So that's your total strokes. It'd be interesting to see if Scheffler can pass Cameron Young for number 1 on total strokes gained. I mean, Rory's right behind him. Morikawa, who knows with that guy, but those are your total strokes gained here. So. All right, going to players that can trip you up. Last week I went with McIlroy, got up on Fleetwood. Fleetwood was good. He finished 4th. Got her at 14th. McIlroy 19th. I was struggling with this one because I'm trying to figure out who's everyone going to be betting on and I just think a lot of these top guys are going to play really good. It should be a star-studded leaderboard. You and I are going to go head-to-head a little bit because I can't quite get there with Rory McIlroy. being second. He takes a lot of unnecessary chances, and I just wonder if there's a tournament where there's no reason to swing that far, and he puts himself into some bunkers. His putting has been a little shaky. The big concern for me in picking him as a player that can trip you up is, of course, is he just chasing majors at this point, which it sure seems like it. But I didn't like the way he played. He should be up there, but the shaky putting, it seems like that Masters a little bit of a letdown. We didn't see him for a while, so I'll be a little bit worried about Rory McIlroy, but I'm hoping I'm wrong, so you can get the win and move ahead in our fantasy league. I'm out on Bryson DeChambeau for the foreseeable future. This is another bomber. I don't trust him at all. He tries to get way too cute and try and put on a show. And this is a course where he just does not need to do that. You don't need to hit the ball 350 yards on a 450 yard hole. Like, you can lay back a little bit. All these bunkers, he's going to bring these bunkers into play. And I just think precision matters. And the live golf rumors, he's legit talking about, I'm not going to play on any tour. I'm just going to play on YouTube. I don't like his mindset. It doesn't feel like he's in the mindset to win a major. So I'm also not a big fan of Jon Rahm at a place like this. Strong finishes on live golf. We cashed a 5% on him. But even then, I didn't even realize this. Did you know he got to the top 10? He had an albatross. Without that albatross, that, by the way, they don't have a video of it. They forgot. They had no cameras on Jon Rahm.
That's very live. That is very live.
Well, when you lose all your funding, you tend to miss a few things here, Yann. So the stats look fine on paper. I don't trust him. Live golf courses just are not set up the way majors are. And even though I don't think this course is that hard, I just don't trust him in this spot. And they're still pricing him. I mean, he's the third betting favorite to win outright. No chance am I on Jon Rahm to win a major. So Rory McIlroy, Bryson, and Jon Rahm are three players that I think can trip you up. All right, we're going to go to top 10 or missed cut. This is where we pick a guy. It would not surprise us if he finished in the top 10 or if they missed the cut. Who'd you land on this week, Yann?
I'm going to take Tyrrell Hatton this week. This is much more of a top 10 than miscut for me here, honestly. I think Hatton has all of the tee to green class and consistency to contend here. I love where his irons are at. I love where his short game's at. If he shows up at his best, I think this course really suits him. My big concern is putting here. He will just make some putts. If he can just make some putts, I wouldn't surprise me if he's a top 5 finisher. It really wouldn't. But if he starts missing some and gets in his own head, you're just going to see the Hatton that hates golf and hates life and is just going to have a few meltdowns. If he keeps his head, he contends. If he doesn't, I think he could be done after 2 days. It's going to be a fun watch with him either way. And while I lean top 10 with Hatton, he has big blow-up miscut potential this week.
He's like the only golfer that where you're just like, oh man, I hope he messes this up because this is going to be good for a laugh.
Always puts on a show, man. I love it.
Absolutely. I'm going with Ricky Fowler. 3 straight top 10 finishes. Last 30 days, he's actually number 5 in this field in total strokes gained, except he's missed the cut 2 of the last 3 years at PGA Championship. So I wonder if he just doesn't feel, I wonder if he doesn't like playing at courses that are not normally on the schedule or regular. He's certainly having a breakout year this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if he misses the cut here, if this is a little bit too much for him. And then I wouldn't be surprised if he continues his hot streak. So can't ignore 3 straight top 10 finishes, but also can't ignore that he's not been that great at majors. So, all right, we're going to get to head-to-heads, but we do have a 5% best bet that is up. We're coming off a nice 5% winner last week, and we already put this thing up yesterday. We love the number. It is a finishing position that should be available on all of your sports books. So carrying the momentum from last week into this week with the big best bets. If you want to just get the 7 days of golf for $25, that's by far the best price for that, because you're going to get all of our bets before the tournament. And then if we have any daily plays, we only had 1 daily play last week, but we were able to hit that one. Our boy, Alex Fitzpatrick, came in with a nice under on the round score. So you can get all those for only $25. You get 7 days. It's over at wt.buzz/AL. And we go to head-to-heads. I had Putnam over Homa. That was a nice win. I will just segue and say I'm just going to take Nick Taylor over Max Homa. We're just keep fading Max Homa. 52nd, 38th the last 2 weeks. Taylor, meanwhile, 14th and 9th the last 2 weeks. Homa just goes all in on the Masters, and then he just sucks after. So it's just a fade Homa train after Augusta. So what'd you find in the head-to-head markets?
I'm going to take Cam Young over Jon Rahm. Cam Young has been the best player on tour this year. He won the Players and the Cadillac, came third in the Masters and the Arnold Palmer. He has been nothing short of elite and shows absolutely no weaknesses in his game. He is a clear contender for the title this week. Now, as naturally talented as Rahm is, and he's made us an awful lot of money over the last few years, he hasn't been playing in the same level of competition or even the same level of golf course as Cam Young. Coming into majors for these live guys isn't easy. It's just a lot of things to adapt to. There's a few more eyes on the live guys at majors, especially now with everything that's going on with live. I think the class will come from Rahm at the end of the week, the last 2 rounds, when it's just too late to contend. I think Cam Young will be flying from the off. The one event these both guys played this year was the Masters. 3rd for Young, 38th for Rahm. I expect more of the same. Give me the true PGA strength of schedule over the Live World Tour with Cam Young over Jon Rahm.
I agree completely. And my next one is the exact same premise. They actually tried to make the case for a long time on Live that this was the best player in the world. And I'm just telling you, Joaquin Niemann is not the best golf player in the world. In fact, I'm taking Gary Woodland over Joaquin Niemann this week. Woodland's been really good this year. 17th, 38th the last 2 weeks. 8th, 33rd. He does have a win and a 14th before that on a real golf tour. Sorry. I don't trust Niemann at all. He's not even been that good on Live this year. I definitely don't trust him in majors. Missed the cut the last 2. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy misses the cut again and Gary Woodland sees the weekend. So same thing. I'm just this Joaquin Niemann trying to play in the majors. It just has not worked out. So, any other head-to-head matchups you saw that you liked?
Yeah, the one that lost for us last week, but I'm going to go right back to it. I'm going to take Åberg over Fleetwood. I think Fleetwood was a bit flattered by that last week. He was a bit too good on approach and made some silly putts. I still think he's got a mistake and a bit of average play in him. I'm not just going to be saying he's back because he came 5th in what is essentially a warm-up event for a major. It just doesn't really move the needle for me, honestly. And the thing about Åberg is he only lost by a shot to Fleetwood, and it's still another top 10 finish. That's now 5 top 10s in his last 6 events. You're talking about guys with no weaknesses who are all class. That's what you want this week, and Åberg's right at the top of this list. Åberg's a contender for me. Fleetwood isn't. Give me Åberg over Fleetwood again this week.
Agreed. That one shot was brutal. It's like Fleetwood was just hitting these miracle shots. Åberg just couldn't quite get going and still finished in the top 10. So, speaking of top finishers, before we get to those, please hit the like button, guys. It really helps us out. And hey, leave a comment. It's PGA Championship week. Let us know who you like to win. Let us know some of your bets. It's a major, so there's a lot more markets available. So let us know what you like. Love reading the comments section. It's really nice seeing the views grow and grow and grow over the course of the year. We've got a really good community and a really good comment section. So leave us a comment below. As we go into top finishers, we did Fowler top 20 and Cam Young top 10 last week on the show. Those are both winners. I'm going right back to Ricky Fowler. I think he does make the cut, and I think he does good. I can get a great price on top 40, including ties. This guy's 3 straight top 10 finishes. I keep going back to the last 30 days, number 5 in the field in total strokes gained. His short game is on point. He's not that long off the tee, and I just don't think it's going to affect him that much. So I'm stunned that I can get Fowler top 40, including ties. He's definitely a top 40 golfer in this field. So who's your first top finisher?
I am taking Minwoo Lee top 40, including ties at -125. I was willing to forgive him the 2 weird weeks of the Masters and the Heritage where he missed the cut and came 60th. I'm glad I did because he cashed back-to-back top 20s, 18th and 14th in the last 2 weeks. And before those 2 no-shows, he was one of the best players on tour, not finishing any worse than 38th in 7 events. For me, he's just one of the most well-rounded players on tour. Fantastic off the tee guy, but has really solid iron play, around the green play, and putting. He's just got no weaknesses, and I think that really helps him this week. I just think he's not going to let himself get into trouble like he did at the Masters and totally blow up again. I think we have elite Minwoo Lee back, and I think this is a generous price for him to just be around average.
I'm going to take chalk, but I think sometimes we just immediately go, you can't bet on Scottie Scheffler. The price isn't too good. I'll go top 5, including ties, at a very reasonable price. Second in 3 straight tourneys. You don't think he's going to be near the top of the leaderboard? Last 30 days, number 1 total strokes gain. No holes in his game right now, including the short game. Looks like he's fixed his approach, which was his Achilles heel early, but at his baby earlier in the year, I'm sure that family and the practice schedule is now dialed in. So really good price in Scottie Scheffler top 5, including ties. He should be there at the end. Who's your second?
I'm taking Alex Smalley top 40, including ties at plus 130. Not many hitting their irons better than Smalley right now. He has some of the best long iron numbers on tour. 17th in the Truist and 7th in the Cadillac. Last 2 weeks are really decent showings and a really nice fit for this week. He's just one of these guys under 30 who just keeps getting better and better, and the first win on the PGA Tour doesn't feel that far away. He's accurate. He doesn't seem to get himself in trouble. Solid around the green player and a very decent putter. But the price on Smalley this week, that's the key for me. Plus 130, including ties, is a price that shouldn't exist. I just think with how stacked the top end of this field is, the work that guys like Smalley are doing right now is flying way under the radar. Top 40 plus 130 is all value. Has to be played this week.
Agreed completely. I would get to Alex Smalley in Draftkings Darlings because you and I saw the exact same things, criminally underpriced. So, all right, outright winner. This is not my specialty, but I play along. I'm much better in the head-to-head matchups and top 20s and everything. So, Yann, who you got to win?
So I've already given out my most likely winner with Rory in my one and done. So I get to have a bit of fun here. Give me my boy David Puig at 125 to 1. It's no secret to our clients how big of a fan of Puig I am. He's only 24 and one of the most consistent players in the game. He has a very, very bright future. I just think this course really suits him. Puig's game is 2 things right now: distance and putting. Both of those things really help this week. If this track favours bombers and he can make a few putts, he's good enough with his iron play and around the green game to actually contend. The talent is there. If he can bring it over these 4 days, I give him every chance. I would be looking at him plus 125 for top 40, but 125 to 1 outright. I will be having a small sprinkle on a future world number 1 in David Puig.
All right. I am going to go to a guy who is not scared of majors, who I think people only think of him as a contender at Augusta, and I can't pass up 82 to 1 on Patrick Reed. When I'm looking at the combination of around the green and putting, I know it's on live. He's right up at the top. In fact, last 3 months in all the markets and all of the tours, he's number 1 around the green. He's not that long off the tee, but he is accurate. He was great off the tee last week. So I get a guy who's accurate off the tee and been great around the green and on a course that we haven't seen in a long time where there could be someone come out of nowhere. So I'll take Patrick Reed. You got to believe he's hungry to put on a show at all these majors this year. So 82 to 1. Wouldn't be surprised if he makes just a little bit of run at it. So, all right, DraftKings Darlings. We cashed last week. Alex Fitzpatrick was by far the biggest winner for us there. I did not see him in any lineups last week, and I bet that may change this week. I bet some people are on to him. So, all right, I have to do this. So the average price for a golfer this week is $8,333. Okay. I'm going to start with Matt McCarty, who's 5,700, way below average. One of the best pure values on the board. Back-to-back finishes of 9th and 10th. He's made 5 straight cuts, all of them top 40 results. Underlying stats are great. Accurate off the tee last 30 days, plus 0.51 putting and plus 0.68 on approach the last 30 days. So at 5,700, I just think he's a great anchor piece here. Okay, here's what doesn't make any sense. Average price, $8,333. Alex Fitzpatrick is $5,900. This price just feels like ridiculously low. Like you could argue he's one of the top 5 hottest golfers right now. 6th driving accuracy, 3rd total strokes gained approach, 4th, 9th win, and 6th. Doesn't include the Zurich. At under 6,000, I'm stunned. This is probably my favorite DFS option this week. So as long as he keeps up this hot streak, this number is going to feel like a steal. And then you already went over Alex Smalley. He's only 6,100. So I'll be happy to put Alex Smalley in there. You already went over his stats, finished 17th and 7th the last 2 weeks, one missed cut all season. So he's getting through to the weekend and getting you points. And over the last 3 months, he's gained strokes in every major category. So at 6,100, Alex Smalley is going to be the pick. So Matt McCarty, Alex Fitzpatrick, and Alex Smalley are your DraftKings darlings. And as always, my full DFS lineup is on the free article on the WagerTalk.com news section. Just go up to the top of WagerTalk.com, click on news, and all those articles will be there. We'll have articles up for UFC. I'll be an article up for the MVP fighting series on Saturday. Yes, I will try and write an article about that one. So we got NASCAR All-Star race this weekend. So big card. If you just want some of the golf plays, we got 7 days for $25. Or if you want something for a little bit longer, we're still running that 30-day special. You get 10 days added on to the 30 days and you get $100 off. So you're getting $100 off 30 days and you're getting 40 days for that. It includes every single play in every single sport. We're locked in and we're dialed in on this 5% best bet, and we're going to give out some more plays up until they tee off on Thursday morning. So Yann, great job as always. Let's have a big week. Thank you very much. Good luck on all your bets, guys, and we'll see everyone next week on Cutline. Take care.